First thing you have to understand is that in our world, we all know who Candace Owens is, right? Everybody that I know in our world, in the conspiratorium, we know who Candace Owens is, right? This may come as a shock to you, but most people in the country have no idea who she is. None. You have no clue. So just always keep this in proportion. We live in a world where we think everybody follows our... I'll give a perfect example. NASCAR. In the world of NASCAR, there were people who said that when Dale Earnhardt died, they thought this is going to change the world. Most people didn't know who he was. But in the NASCAR world, he was Elvis. And so you have to always ask yourself, what group are you familiar with? If you're a Swiftie, if you're into Taylor Swift, that's the biggest thing. So I just want to always tell you, which fishbowl are you in? Think of the world, think of our media world as this big table. And there are fishbowls. And in the fishbowl, there's sports and entertainment and let's say conservative news and then cable news and maybe newspapers and old school. And then there's this platform that we're in right now. Now, I want you to understand something. First of all, I want Candace and everybody here to win, because this is a medium that I love. And I may not necessarily watch somebody or agree with them, but it doesn't matter. I want this to win because I still think this is the purest, most genuine form of communication that we have. Whatever you call it, podcasting, or I hate that word, but platforming, or whatever this thing is. Now, Candace Owens is the subject of a very serious lawsuit that is going to make the Alex Jones case, which is, listen, suing him for how many $1 trillion? It's like you should have called it a gajillion. Doesn't matter. But Candace Owens is different. And what I'm about to tell you is not that I dislike her. I don't want this to be, but this is both a lesson and reality. Candy, as I call her, did not simply build a media platform. She built a full-blown conservative business engine that erupted out of nowhere and began gobbling up attention and influence and advertising dollars in a way that legacy media never saw coming, couldn't imagine. She's got like 20 employees. That's it. So good for you. Good for you. Fortune, we used to call it Fortune magazine, Fortune spends thousands of words in this one article trying to understand how a young woman who once worked mid-tier at Turning Point USA somehow transformed herself into a global lightning rod with a podcast or a video platform that outperforms nearly every left-wing show in America. Okay? There's something the left do well, something that the right do well. When it comes to this, the right does better. They can't believe it. They can't accept it. So naturally, they frame it all around the looming lawsuit from Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron. Because when the establishment feels threatened, they sue. Now, the article begins by walking readers through the scale of Candace's rise. 5 years ago, she was a rising operative in the conservative movement. Today, she sits on top of an independent empire that her enemies would love to downplay and destroy, but cannot, at least downplay. This Fortune article admits her media business, brings in up to $10 million per year. And that kind of money in today's creator economy places her in the same financial universe as mid-tier cable networks. And the establishment hates that. Hates it because it means the old gatekeepers can't control or contain her. Plus, it's a revolution. Now comes the lawsuit. Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte have sued Candy for what they call a global humiliation campaign. They're using the defamation claim as a vehicle to hit her entire structure. And not just Candace, but Candace individual, but Candace Owens LLC and George Tom Inc., which manages her distribution and operations, and her husband, and then Macron hired Claire Locke, which is the same law firm that crushed Fox News into the Dominion settlement. Remember that one? Which they never called a witness. Anyway, they want scalps. They don't want just Candy. They want everybody she's been on. All of the shows that published and regurgitated and re-vectored these horrible statements. And let me say something right now. If you think this is just about Candy calling Brigitte Macron a dude, if you think that's it, you didn't read the complaint. That's a part of it. See, what makes Candace so great and what is so dangerous is that she goes nuts. She goes, I'm telling you now. And they told her, as the kids say, bruh, dude, take it easy. It's not so. And she doubles down. And now she says there's an international hit team. I got her. And the gendarmerie and the Mossad. And they're all coming after me. Sometimes she sounds like a full-blown nut. But there's a lot of folks who say, yeah, but, it's not that crazy. So we don't know. So I'm just telling you the background. But her folks, they want precedent. They want this conservative media world punished by proxy. There's a lot of folks who are going to be helping along with this lawsuit big time. Now, Fortune lovingly repeats every quote from Claire Locke about Candace's alleged imputative irresponsibility. And they frame her not as a commentator, but as someone whose entire business model is built on misinformation. Well, versus disinformation or data information, whatever the hell that means. Now, that alone tells you the ideological lens of the piece, right? It gives you an idea. They treat her the way the left treated Alex Jones, framing her as a walking revenue machine fueled by outrage, unfair outrage. And they can't comprehend that maybe she simply built a product that half the country wants and may agree with. They can't see that. Now, then the article shifts into the money. This is where Fortune gets animated. They point out the right-leaning podcasts are the most lucrative content in the entire creator sphere. And they explain that conservative audiences buy products, and they trust their hosts, and they stay loyal to their brands. Advertisers now know this and pay premium rates to get on these shows. Birch Gold, Preborn, Pure Talk, The Wellness Company, 7 Weeks Coffee. These sponsors are the backbone of the conservative ecosystem. I love that term. Because mainstream advertising refuses to touch right-wing content. And there you go. That creates a parallel economy which Candace now dominates. See how this works? It's like in talk radio, we had the do not buy list. Now, her download numbers are staggering. Over 3 million downloads per episode. 40 to 60 sponsors rotating through her shows. 90% of her episodes contain ads. Her YouTube channel racks up to 2 million viewers per upload. That kind of audience reaches rivals. Like you can't believe. It rivals Good Morning America, which, by the way, Fortune begrudgingly admits. They compare her output to the Daily Wire, her former employer, which made $200 million. Because if Candace can match even a fraction of that, she becomes financially untouchable. Financially. Then we get the structure. Candace and her husband, George Farmer, operate everything through 2 Delaware entities. Delaware, That's where the venue for this is. Delaware, Joe Biden country. You sure? Why do people still do the whole Biden? It was almost Delaware Corporation. It was almost axiomatic. This is going to be a big mistake. Get out of Delaware, many suggest. Anyway, she's got a small staff, lean operation. George handles the business. Candace handles the mic. And this particular piece, which I've cited, spends a good amount of time reminding readers that Farmer comes from an old British aristocratic family with deep pockets and deep experience in conservative media ventures and blah blah blah. Anyway, but that's Fortune's way of saying she's not going to be bankrupted by a lawsuit the way they hope. We'll see about that. And I'm telling you that. And I'm saying this no matter how great you are, if you stray into a world, if you feel invincible or bulletproof, and you are not, they want to destroy you. You are now the scalp. You know how the left is. Look what they did to Alex. Alex is not going anywhere, by the way. Alex is to me, stronger than the other. But anyway, a bunch of these folks also, these folks, they also speculate that the couple may have structured their assets in trusts or similar vehicles that would insulate them from judgments, which is good. And that part borders on wishful thinking disguised as analysis. See, they want to believe that there's a chink in the armor, okay? Next comes the legal jeopardy section where they compare her to Alex Jones. This is very, very interesting. Fortune tries to paint a future where she's financially gutted by the Macrons. They remind readers of the astronomical numbers from the Sandy Hook case. Excuse me. And they talk about actual malice. They talk about punitive damages. And they talk about whether juries are tired of media irresponsibility. Which could be. In reality, they're asking whether a jury would like to or would be likely to punish a conservative woman who annoys the establishment. Interesting point. But still they admit a hard truth. Even if Candace loses, she may win. See, that's the part that keeps her critics awake at night. The modern conservative ecosystem, that word again, rewards defiance. They love it. Controversy leads to engagement. Engagement leads to money. And even the most expensive lawsuits cannot kill that model. They tried it with Jones. They tried it with Fox. They tried it with Rogan. The audiences don't go away. They become emboldened. If anything, they become more loyal. And Candy knows this. She's fundraised off the lawsuit, openly predicting $5 million in legal expenses. Her fans respond. Her numbers go up. Her critics melt and melt down. And the lawsuit itself becomes content, which becomes revenue, which becomes insulation. Now, the article concludes, and this is interesting. The article concludes with a reluctant acknowledgement that Owens may emerge stronger because the fight needs and feeds her brand. The Macron suit might damage her financially, but it may also deepen her audience connection. You see, the article tries to portray her as reckless, but ends up documenting how well her model works. And the establishment wants her silenced and cut off, but the economics suggest she's only getting larger. See, that's the beauty of this. Reading between the lines, you sense panic. This Fortune piece, again, which I've contained, is not neutral. It's not curious. It's not journalistic. It is a warning to elites that this woman they dismissed as some fringe nutcase is now running a media juggernaut that they can't control. She left the Daily Wire and grew larger. She challenged narratives and grew even larger. Now a sitting president of France is suing her, which only makes her bigger. And by the way, nobody even cares about the truth of the particular cases or what she's alleged. It's beyond that. This is the part the establishment never understands. When you attack voices that represent the distrust the public feels, that they feel towards institutions, you don't weaken them, you canonize them. It's like a beatification. It's an apotheosis. You validate every fear their audience already carries, and you prove their point. Candy knows this. Her advertisers know this. Her viewers know this. Now, Macron may win in court, but Candy will win everywhere else. In short, this it's a great article, by the way, tries to make sense of a media universe. Notice I didn't say ecosystem. A media universe that belongs to the corporate press. Candace Owens is not a glitch in the system. She is the new system, built outside the gates, funded by millions, and powered by the very backlash that elites keep creating. This is a fascinating story. They'll be talking about this forever. In the meantime, let me remind you of something. Please don't think that it's open season, that you can say anything you want. You may be able to say things legally, but if somebody claims that you have libeled them, be very careful. Ask yourself this, and I want you to remember this. This is Lionel's, one of my aphorisms, my apothegms, one of my chestnuts, my bromides. Pick the hill you want to die on. Is this really important for you to say this? Do you want to end your career on this? If not, watch what you say. And in the middle, like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that little button so you'll be notified of live streaming new videos. And whatever you do, my dear friend, I ask, beseech, I importune, I entreat, I ask, I beseech always that you comment as you see fit, and answer the questions I've got in the comment section.